Hi, boys and girls. Today's story is called Magic Trash, and it's a true story about how Tyree Guyton and his art saved his community. So let's read to find out what happened. A winter chill whooshed down Helberg Street. Young Tyree Guyton buttoned his coat. Pop! His last button flipped into the gutter. He dove after it, then dug through frosty leaves. He pried a popsicle stick from the ice. He hoisted a bicycle wheel off the curb. He scooped a baseball cap bundled in the snow. Pockets clanging, Tyree darted home, a home on the east side of Detroit that already bulged with 10 children. Shop around, Tyree sang along with the radio as he unloaded the day's finds. His mama didn't earn enough money sewing and cleaning to buy new shoes, much less bikes and balls. So he zapped fun into amazing junk that others tossed away. Popsicle sticks became boards to build a house. A cap soared like a rocket ship. The wheel bounced, spokes jumping, dots dashed. Let rockets fly, boards tower high, bounce, jump, and dance. Magic trash. Tyree barely heard a thump thwack on his brother's games while he dreamed up designs. In school, he sat alone drawing pictures. When his report card arrived, his aunt asked, "Is Tyree dumb?" "Maybe crazy," his mama whispered. Then, one sunny day when Tyree was 9, his grandpa Sam, a house painter, plopped a brush into his hands. "Paint the world," Grandpa said. Tyree dipped Grandpa's cans of color, sloshing purple, slapping yellow, aiming his brush like a magic wand. Abracadabra! Tyree's shyness vanished. Sweet apples crunched when he glopped the red. He'd never seen Lake Huron, but now it splashed in a pool of blue. "Like new," Grandpa said of a glistening ladder. Tyree smiled and swirled a shade of green. Other kids on his street giggled and razzed, "Look at his green face! Ha! Green junk!" Still, as Tyree zoomed from bent bottle caps to rusty wheels, Grandpa Sam's words twirled in his head. "I'm going to be an artist," Tyree said. His mama hung her head. "That's not a job." He peered into Grandpa's twinkling eyes. Tyree clenched his brush. He would be an artist. Yes. Brush greens and blues on wheels and shoes, slash, slash, splash, and magic trash. That's a tongue twister. At age 12, Tyree squinted into spiraling smoke as National Guard tanks rolled down nearby Mount Elliott Street. All his life, neighbors had raced out of town to live in new suburbs. Now some who had stayed exploded in rage. Like shaken bottles of Verner's ginger ale, Tyree gawked, teeth chattering. Rioters were burning buildings in his neighborhood. Isn't it interesting, though, as we're reading? Look at what the illustrator did in this picture and the other pictures. It's not just paint or crayons or colored pencils. Look at, there's pieces of newspaper clippings here. When he grew to be 16, Tyree, too, left the shapes and hues of Helberg Street to seek a new life. But he never forgot about painting his world. So he enrolled. Oops, I skipped some words. Let's go back to the pictures. He marched as a soldier. He inspected cars in a factory. He doused fires as a firefighter. But he never forgot about painting his world, so he enrolled in art school to learn more about colors, lines, and designs. At last, Tyree bolted back home down to Helderberg. When he returned, though, his street had changed. Houses sat deserted, creeping with spirits of owners who had run away from the neighborhood. Tyree tripped over trash, lots of trash, and troublemakers lurked. They snuck into hollow houses. They even set them on fire. Whoo! Spirits whirl, new troubles swirl, kick, burn, and hurl magic trash. No, cried Tyree, not this street. His mama still lived in the same house. Grandpa Sam painted pictures inside now. Tyree grabbed his brush and burrowed through rubbish. He cast spells on suitcases, toilets, and a slide trombone. That's an instrument, one of these things. Before the colors dried, Grandpa Sam hurried out to help. They painted a busted bus. They tied shoes to a tree. They flung broken bottles and cast off tires on burnt out buildings and forgotten yards. And they painted faces of God in blue, black, and orange. Their street sparkled. When trouble still sizzled in one discarded home, Tyree coated it in dots and squares of pink, blue, yellow, and purple, then perched a magenta watchdog on the porch. Dopey dealing thieves hustled from its view, chased away by the bright paint and barking trash. Tyree named one home Dotty Waddy and another one Funhouse. Spying hungry, crying children, he dangled broken baby dolls on telephone poles and rooftops. Dolls sobbed with each puff of wind. Maybe now others would see. Bright colors flash, scared dealers dash, bark, cry, and swing magic trash. Some people squawked about garbage. A few neighbors complained to the city. The mayor and his helpers stomped. Soon, bulldozers roared up to the project to crush every doll and board. You can't do that, yelled neighbors as dust swooped to the treetops. Get out of here, the others screamed. Tyree's trash is beautiful. Tyree scrambled to snatch a few pieces. This is my art, he cried. But the dots and stripes and baby dolls lay bashed and smashed and still. Tyree rubbed his eyes. Grandpa Sam poked at piles. Old houses talk. Some neighbors squawk. Crash, bash, and smash magic trash. Art had filled Tyree's and Grandpa Sam's lives. Now, 93, Grandpa Sam had grown too old to help. Never stop painting, Grandpa said, squeezing Tyree's hand. And then Tyree stood alone with brushes, paint, and trash. He wasn't alone for long, though. We can help, neighbors called. Your colors and dots chase away those thieves. Together they shoveled, swept, and hauled in new trash. Then, after 8 years of painting and rebuilding, neighbors heard wreckers screech a second time. Faces of God watched as the city crunched 2 more houses. No, Tyree yelled. Tyree and his neighbors were hopping mad. This street is ours, they said. We'll never quit. They marched downtown to tell their story to a judge and jury. The judge agreed that Helderberg Street was a garbage dump. No, decided the court, it's art. Tyree's work survived. I think I read a wrong word. Oh, it said the city argued, and I said agreed. I'm sorry, boys and girls, but did you notice how I went back to reread because it didn't make sense? Maybe I need to get stronger glasses or contacts. The next day, Tyree and his neighbors began anew, aiming their brushes like magic wands. Children sang as they hammered and spattered designs. Once again, I'm messing up. Even former troublemakers returned, ready to rake, sweep, and build. United by trash, they cast a spell on the street, brightening their home for good. Word of Helderberg Street spread far. It blazed across the air. Folks from Canada, Kenya, and Japan scurried to the neighborhood. They stared. Wow, look at that! Tyree waved his brush. Welcome. In a warm breeze, dots danced, gleaming cast-offs jangled and jumped. Let rockets fly, boards tower high, bounce, jump, and dance, magic trash. How fun is that story? Now, before we finish, let's take a look at this author's note. It says, Magic Trash is based on the life and art of painter and sculptor Tyree Guyton. In 2011, the Helderberg Project celebrates its 25th anniversary. Tyree continues to work on Helderberg Street and travels internationally, that means to other countries, to lecture and assist with installation of community art. He represented the United States in the 2008 Venice Architecture Biennale. That is a word I need to look up. You may visit Helderberg Project in Detroit or view Tyree Guyton's art in museums. How cool is that? Including the Detroit Institute of Art. And there is a website to discover his work. Boys and girls, what a fun story this was. We've read other books about how community comes together, but this was another example. And plus, this main character used items that people saw as garbage and he turned them into artwork. And that, I think, would be a fun thing for you to try at home when you can as well. I hope you enjoyed the story.